my name is Sunbird, and welcome to my review of Warrior Redux. So the game can be bought for 37 euros on Steam. Now I have the original reimagination of Shadow Warrior, and I pre-ordered Shadow Warrior 2, so I got it a bit cheaper. But anyway, I would like to start my review from what I would consider the meat of the game, that is the combat system. And it's an interesting blend of old school and Borderlands. It's a fast-paced combat system with a dash ability and double jump, and then there's also a lot of weapons and a melee system. The melee is one of the best first-person melee systems I have played, and the gun collection is really big. There's a lot of different guns in the game. Now as for the enemies, I had some problems with them. Some of them are extremely spongy, especially on the harder difficulties, and they are also pretty fast sometimes. So that was kind of a problem, and they took a lot of time to kill them. There's also something I noticed in the enemies' spawn system. They seem to sometimes appear out of thin air in front of the player. A group of enemies suddenly appears. It's kind of ridiculous, especially on the harder difficulties when looking for a safe place, and then all of a sudden enemies appear. Now, the difficulties, I think I prefer the normal over any other difficulty. It's the right balance of sponginess and difficulty. It's kind of easy, but most important is that its gameplay is fun. And on the insane difficulty, it got turned just into a circle jerk where I run around the enemies and empty magazines on them. That was kind of stupid. Now the bosses in the game are quite interesting. There are some puzzles, kind of like parkour puzzles. They summon some walls and I have to jump over and then shoot the enemies. It takes quite many bullets to kill. So it took a bit of patience to beat the enemy bosses. But for overall the combat system is excellent. It's fun to play around with. And there is a lot of different playstyles, a lot of different weapons, and even magical abilities. My favorite abilities were the heal and radial stun attack that push hit enemies down. Next up, I have the weapons and progression system. I would like to review a bit more in depth. So, in the game there's a progression system that is based on these gems that can be attached to weapons and armors. There's something like 3 armor slots, and each weapon has 3 slots as well. Now I already mentioned it that the game has a lot of weapons, so let's show a bit of what I have collected in my first playthrough. There's a lot of variety, and all of the weapons, at least almost all of them, have some kind of special effects. So there is a lot of different weapons, and then they can be modified more with the games. To show some can be reduced, increase the accuracy, add some fire rate, and to reduce speed as well. Then we can go test around the weapon. Now well, it's kind of a cool system. I like the idea of those gems and upgrades. There's a bit of a problem at the start of the game that each gem has a level. So at the start they are very useless. They're almost useless. Give only small bonuses like this one, while the later games give much higher bonuses. What I found it out is that at first I didn't really care about the game, so I just tried to get as much DPS as possible, because all the other bonuses were so small that I didn't even notice the changes. But then later in the game, around the second half, that's when I started to modify my weapons more, and I discovered that it's actually kind of a cool system. But because half of the game it's lame, I can't really praise it all that much. Now, the weapons. I think the weapon variety is very much what drives this game. It's definitely probably what I think is the best part of it. There's a lot of unique weapons. My favorites are probably this one, and I don't know if I have it equipped. Check it out. This one. This is kind of a sniper rifle type weapon. And then this is cool because this has an infinite ammo. The only weapon in the game that has it. Every time I reload it, it doesn't use any ammo. And I noticed that the ammo is one of the biggest problems in the combat, because it runs out very fast. It's almost always out of ammo. So this weapon kind of saved that. I was able to always use guns, not have to rely on melee whenever I run out of ammo. No, what I probably think is the worst part of the game is the levels and quests, because the levels use that random generation system, so because of that I noticed it after the first 2 levels that many of the levels seem to be extremely repetitive. I was seeing the same places in every level I played, and they feel very similar to each other. And the quest system in the game is kind of like in an MMORPG. There's a hub area where you get some quests, and then those quests usually involve either killing some boss or then mini boss, or then there is some kind of a item you need to go get from a mission, and the missions take place then on those randomly generated worlds with enemies randomly spawning and loot. The reason I think these are both bad things is because it makes the game kind of repetitive and shallow. So it comes down to the combat and story to carry your game, the rest of the game. And I guess also co-op for those who are looking for that. But for me, I played solo, so I didn't really value that co-op aspect of the game as much as some other people might. But anyway, the story of the game is a decent one. It's a linear with no branching paths, which was something I would have hoped the game would have, but I didn't expect it, because the first one didn't have that either. But anyway, the problem I had with the story, main story I mean, was that it used a lot of the aspects from the first game, and I played that game around 2 years ago, so I didn't remember much of it, and so I was kind of confused at parts of the story, and it was kind of hard to follow. But overall it was interesting in a sense, and though it's not the point of the game, I liked it. And the characters, the main character is kind of a childish, but he has some funny comments. The other characters, they are okay. I wasn't a big fan of some of the side characters, but I can't really complain about them. The side missions, they had some interesting stories, but I was a bit disappointed in many of them because it felt kind of like there was something missing. I don't know what. They were mostly told only as in text and audio format. I would have hoped more visual effects in them. But overall, the story aspects of the game, while not great, they were decent. One aspect that I think deserves some praise are the graphics. At some parts the game looks really cool, and it has a really detailed environments, especially on the forest levels. The city levels were also detailed, but I didn't really like the overall design of those. Now there was also a bit of a problem with all the graphics because it caused a bit of a visual clutter, especially on the nature levels. Some of the bushes and trees, grass were on the way when I was fighting demons. I couldn't see them properly. That was only a kind of a small complaint, because it was possible to quickly change position and fight in an open space. And the soundtrack of the game, it wasn't really anything special. I think the best part was the menu music, and the in-game music, I don't really remember much of it. It was kind of constructed in a way that there was some loud bursts, and for the most part it was kind of silent and unnoticeable. But there was that good soundtrack on the last boss though, I can praise a bit of that. It was a unique take in background music, because it had both instruments and singing. So there was that. On the graphic side, I mean performance, I had a bit of an issue with frame rates, even though I have a decent rig. I have noticed that a lot of reviews are praising the game for the optimization, but I had some weird FPS issues, a lot of frame rate drops, especially on the city levels and in combat sometimes. But it appears to be a fairly rare problem. I can't really reduce the score of the game because of it. Now, as an honorable mention for the game, I wanted to talk about also the options menu. It has quite a bit of settings on the PC, but I like the amount of customization available in the game. This, for instance, is the gameplay menu. You can change here the style of melee attacks, the weapon inertia that affects how much the weapon moves on the screen, like this. I haven't seen that in any other game, but the first one had this as well. And then it also has all the HUD settings. You can disable and enable HUD and other settings in there. And also on the other HUD options such as the crosshair and stuff like that. It also has a good PC graphic settings menu. Seems to have pretty much anything would be demanded. And I found that there were really good video settings, and also has this NVIDIA multi-res shading feature, kind of a new in the drivers. And the field of view goes all the way to 100 vertical, which is a lot. I'm gonna show that as well. This is the maximum for field of view in the game. I prefer it at around 70. Somewhat equivalent to 90 horizontal. Is usually the usual flow people play on PC. It also has the usual settings such as the controls and stuff. My final verdict for the game is going to be 7 out of 10, which is well into decent. The game, I like some parts of the game, but it also has a lot of flaws. Now 7 might seem quite low, but I should probably explain a bit of how my scale works. So it goes all the way from 1 to 10, and so 7 is actually quite a good rating. It's not a perfect game, but I think for the most part it is worth its price if you are looking for either a co-op experience or a looter shooter. So see you later.